What's going on, guys? In this video, we're going to look at some Bitcoin news. We have recent news that the DOJ decided to wind down a unit dedicated to prosecuting Bitcoin and crypto firms. We're also going to look at this article talking about banks entering Bitcoin and when this is going to happen. We're also going to look at Cleanspark's mining update. It's been a few days. I haven't been able to cover it, so we're going to talk about that. We also have some other Cleanspark news to talk about. And this news just dropped yesterday. Cleanspark earned the 35th spot on the Financial Times 2025 list of the 500 fastest growing companies in America. In the Americas, I guess. This list identifies the top 500 companies based in 20 North, Central, and South American countries. And as said by Cleanspark's CEO, Cleanspark's pleased to make the top 40 of America's fastest growing companies list. Our incredible growth since 2020 showcases the value of our strategy and our team's grit and adaptability over multiple years. Our proven track record since then has continued, with our 2024 fiscal year revenue increasing 123% since fiscal year 2023, and the tremendous expansion of our Bitcoin mining footprint, which is expected to reach 50 exahash in hash rate during the first half of this year. Since Cleanspark started Bitcoin mining in 2020, we continue to execute on our strategic goal of reaching an operational scale that provides financial advantages while capturing valuable market share. We currently support approximately 5% of the global hash rate, making Cleanspark one of the largest producers of Bitcoin in the world. Cleanspark has created a position of financial stability with a strong balance sheet, which includes nearly 12,000 Bitcoin holdings, allowing the company to weather any storm. And speaking of Bitcoin holdings, thanks to their last mining update, they have now surpassed Tesla. Here's the list of public companies, the top public companies that own Bitcoin. And of course, we have MicroStrategy at the top of this list. And then we have Bitcoin miners. We have Mara, Riot, Cleanspark. Next is Tesla, Hut 8. These largest public holders of Bitcoin are going to continue to hold more and more. Now, going into Cleanspark's mining update, they produced 706 Bitcoin in March with a month-end operating hash rate of 42.4 exahash, which they expect to reach 50 by the midpoint of this year. An average fleet efficiency of 17.03 joules per terahash. They sold 14 Bitcoin in March, and they had an average of 22.78 Bitcoin mined per day, with a single day high of 23.52 Bitcoin. And we should even see an increase from March to April, because in March their average hash rate was 40.2 exahash, but by the month end they reached 42.4, so about a 2.2 exahash rise. And we do have some updates on their different sites. In Mississippi and Georgia, they expect to add another 2 exahash to their total hash rate. In Wyoming, they expect another 2.5 exahash, and that's within the current quarter. They also have expansion projects in Tennessee, expecting to add 4 exahash from that. And Cleanspark has a mention on the tariffs. While the recently announced tariffs may temporarily raise industry-wide growth costs, Cleanspark is well prepared. The majority of our miners and infrastructure required to meet near-term goals are already stateside. We believe our advantages, including a lower cost of capital, superior purchasing power, and best-in-class operations, set us apart. These tariffs may slow down competitors who lack scale and resilience, but we're confident in our ability to maintain our momentum and lead the industry forwards. And we have Bitcoin, Cleanspark, the Bitcoin miners in general, performing horribly over the last few months. Cleanspark stuck under this descending resistance and also stuck under the 50 MA. Just continues to find it as resistance, with false breakouts occasionally. On a positive note, we do have a bullish RSI divergence. The RSI is rising since late February, while the price has basically been dropping, hitting lower lows, the RSI with higher lows. We've got a similar story with the RSI on the 4-hour, hitting higher lows on the RSI and hitting lower lows on the chart. Cleanspark and the Bitcoin miners charts will react to Bitcoin's chart. If Bitcoin keeps dropping, the Bitcoin miners are going to keep dropping. Speaking of Bitcoin, we also have a bullish RSI divergence. The RSI has been hitting higher lows, while Bitcoin's price has been hitting lower lows. We also have a falling wedge, which is typically a bullish pattern. We have consistent lower highs and lower lows, but it is forming a tightening pattern. And also, the other day, we just had a death cross. Our last death cross we saw was pretty much right where the bottom was, funny enough. We had a death cross on the 10th of August, roughly, and Bitcoin bottomed out on the 5th of August at 49K. The death cross printed shortly after, and Bitcoin actually recovered basically after the death cross. We could always see something similar. This is a lagging indicator. This shows what the past has been. This shows that recently we have been falling down. The 200 MA has finally been crossed by the 50 MA. We did see this late in 2024 when there was so much fear. Everyone thought it was game over. We hit 49K and basically recovered since then, hit new highs, and saw a golden cross shortly after in October. That wasn't the only time this cycle we saw a death cross. We also saw a death cross back in 2023 in September. And guess what happened that time too? It basically marked the bottom within days. Bitcoin bottomed out on the 11th or 12th of September at 25K. And that was right around the same time that we had a death cross. So, just because we had a death cross print does not mean it's game over. In fact, if it's anything like previous death crosses this cycle, this could be near the bottom. Now, there's also something else I wanted to show you guys, this long-term trend that I showed you guys recently that we've been basically following this whole cycle. We broke under it, but we're trying to reclaim it. We'll see if the market reacts to this trend line, but I would really like to see us recover, bounce back in it, not find this as a resistance and continue our downturn. So this is a bit concerning, but it's definitely something to keep an eye on. We did have a false breakout, but we kind of bounced right back in it. We're basically right at it here. So either we're going to keep recovering, use it as a support, or we're going to keep dropping and find this line as a resistance, if the market will even pay attention to it, that is. Alright, now we also have something interesting regarding banks. Crypto execs expect a global banking push into Bitcoin by the end of 2025. Masari's Eric Turner and Sygnum Bank's Thomas E. expect a global push into Bitcoin by banks in 2025 as regulators embrace crypto. And they basically said this at a panel on August 8th. I think we're probably looking at a muted Q2, but I'm really excited for Q3 and Q4. Forecasting, and I quote, really interesting things coming to the crypto market in 2025. And they make a great point here. While some investors focus on the pro-crypto stance of Trump, Turner emphasized that broader regulatory momentum is what matters most. When you look at the potential of having market structure regulation in the US, stablecoin regulation, just the fact that across the board, not just President Trump himself, but the SEC, all these regulatory industries are finally really embracing crypto. And Sygnum co-founder Thomas said, as the legal landscape becomes clearer, these banks will want a part of this. I think it's a matter of fact that US banks are preparing to be able to offer crypto custody and at least crypto spot trading services anytime soon. And with this recent establishment of clear crypto rules for banks in the US, there will be a rush for crypto services by large international banks that are incorporated outside of the US but have a US-based presence. Some of them may have had their strategic plans in their cupboard, but they have been afraid to do so because of being pursued by US authorities. Now I think there's no one to be afraid of anymore in terms of regulatory authorities nationwide, worldwide. So I think many of the large international banks will launch this year. 5,000 US banks are now cleared for crypto. Regulators unlock digital assets. The FDIC issued a pivotal policy update Friday in Washington, allowing financial institutions, banks under its jurisdiction, to engage in crypto-related endeavors without needing to obtain approval prior. This adjustment mirrors a shift made earlier in the month by the Office of the Comptroller of the Currency, which also oversees part of the U.S. banking sector, by withdrawing its prior 2022 guidance. The agency marked a departure from more conservative oversight methods and aligned more closely with a forward-facing stance on technological integration. And according to its website, the FDIC directly supervises and examines more than 5,000 banks and savings associations for operational safety and soundness. And as said by Chairman Travis Hill, I expect this to be one of several steps the FDIC will take to lay out a new approach for how banks can engage in crypto and blockchain related activities in accordance with safety and soundness standards. But I'll leave both of those articles down below for you. Let's end with this. The DOJ winds down unit dedicated to prosecuting Bitcoin and crypto firms. And this was according to a Tuesday report. The United States Department of Justice has disbanded a special unit of the agency dedicated to cryptocurrency clampdown. The NCET has now been dissolved, ending its 4-year existence. The new administration did not find the approach necessary, leading to the immediate NCET disbandment. The agency's employees are charged with pursuing their core duty of prosecuting bad actors determined to harm digital asset investors and not chasing litigation against crypto exchanges. We are continuing to see more and more pro-Bitcoin policies enacted. This list of publicly traded companies that hold Bitcoin will continue to grow. Those that are on this list will continue to acquire more Bitcoin. Banks are basically getting the green light. Regulators are changing their stance. And of course, at the beginning of this cycle, we had this big push with spot Bitcoin ETFs. Wall Street is a part of Bitcoin, and Bitcoin is now a part of Wall Street. Now, how are you guys feeling about this news? Do you think we'll see banks enter this year? Will it take longer? And how do you feel about Cleanspark being among the top 35 fastest growing companies despite the price? If only its price would correlate more with its fast growth. But anyways, that's all I got for you today, guys. Thanks as always for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow.